traceability and safety and compliance. Today, as part of our compliance series, we will take a deeper look at this and explore this topic, leveraging an automotive example. I'm Sheila Schultz, and I'm here with my colleague, Peter Pedross from PEDCO AG. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Sheila. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, it is. I'm excited for the topic today. Well, Peter, let's get started by talking a little bit about why we have regulatory requirements.
Yeah, and they're here to make our life miserable, aren't they? No, it's the opposite. It's avoiding that bad things shall happen again. So we see some examples. We had the Titanic, an unsinkable ship, sunk. We have airplanes which crash into the ocean. We have elevators who fall down. We have also cars crashing into a river. These are all bad things. And as soon as something happened very badly, we try to write up the reasons and what could have been done in order to avoid these kind of incidents. So that is what regulatory are, and regulatory requirements are intended to be. They should make, and they are making our life better and making sure that we have better products in place.
That's a great reminder on why regulations are so important. Maybe we could explore a little bit deeper on the process design for regulated environments. Well, I came out of General Motors, and in particular, I spent a lot of years in the system safety area, and this was really important there. So I'm curious if you could highlight how you trace Agile approaches to safety or regulatory processes.
Yes, absolutely. So today we talk about process design for regulated environments. And as I said, regulatory requirements are good and they're helping us to make life better. And processes need to comply with regulatory requirements, not to replicate a reference model. It's a sad, but it's a true story that we still nowadays see some examples of companies which just want to get the certification for a specific regulation or passing an audit. And what they usually do is they just say, hey, this is our model which we want to audit. We make it very easy for our assessment, and we start building a process which is more or less a replica of the reference model. So the practices are called the same, the work products are called the same, and so forth. And you can do that and you get through an assessment. But what happens in the reality is that you have a thick process book which is here on the shelf and nobody is using it at work. So in our opinion, it is much, much better to say, hey, we have our own company process model. This is how we want to work. So if you're convinced that Agile procedures are good, that the scaled Agile framework is right for you, you have your company process model with Epic Kanban, with your solution architecture document, configuration plan, your roles, and so forth. And now you take those various regulatory requirements as a helper, as a book of knowledge, which help you to improve the processes. So it just helps you to make sure that you didn't forget about something that is important, that really went bad in the past and you shouldn't do again. So you want to avoid those errors. And now we are just looking for where is something that matches this requirement. So we say, hey, this generic practice in ISO 26262 is related to here, and this activity and this work product from ISO 21448 is reflected in this work product, ASPICE, and even your own reference models here and there. So this is a larger process, and it takes us some while to match that. But what you have at the end is still your own process where you want to work with, and you didn't forget about important things from the regulatory requirements. So they really help you to have better processes in place. And then as soon as you have that, it's very easy to prove that you're compliant with those regulations because you did your homework and you still have your own Agile processes in place. And this is really the beauty of it. If you have done that, it's optimized for the usage in your company and you have compliant processes. The problem with that is that you won't get through any audit with that. because not one auditor cares about that. What they really care about is, did you stick to it? Did you stick to that, what you said that you're doing? So we call it process adherence. And process adherence can be proven in many ways. One, which we think is very successful as well, is that you have metrics in place. So for example, you count the defined work products in the process, and you count the occurrences of those documents, and you put them into relation, and then you have derived metrics. And then if you have these good indicators, then you know, for example, in the past, per story, we had 5.7 test cases, and with that, we had a good test quality for that kind of product. And now we have 6.2, so you can say, sounds reasonable. It's well tested, that documentation. And with these derived metrics, it's very easy to follow if the process has been followed properly. And then, of course, if you have trained the people accordingly, you're all safe in any kind of audit. And we have done that several times, and this is a proven practice.
Oh, that's really excellent. And I'm glad you went through that. It's very helpful for me to really understand how this might work. You know, I come out of automotive. I wonder if you could kind of highlight an example, like a specific automotive example, and how you could map in the safety area and milestones to help us understand this even further.
Yes, of course, I love to. For example, if you talk about safety roles in SAFE, we see here the portfolio SAFE configuration of the scaled Agile framework in the 6.0 version. If we talk about applied SAFE, we have all these roles defined here. We have product management, system architect, release train engineer, and so forth. And if we are talking about ISO 26262, it is asking us about a project manager. So if you just take the reference model as we had before, and you would say, okay, there's a project manager, so we need one as well, we would define a project manager in the scaled Agile framework. So we take that look on a project manager and say, okay, what is he doing? And now we can say, okay, in our case, we think that this is the release train engineer because he's responsible for all the ceremonies and that things are done properly. So the project manager, so we have it replaced with a release train engineer, and we don't need a project manager. And then if we have a project manager, we should ensure that the safety manager is in place. So it says also that the safety manager could be the project manager, or that it is a defined role. Now we have to take a design decision. What do we want to do? So for example, we could say, well, this role is just used seldomly, so we put it into a shared service and we use it when we need it. Or it's a role which we need all the time during development. Then it would be probably smarter to have it in the triad of product manager, system architect, and release train engineer. And as soon as we have the safety manager in place, then we can delegate tasks to the person that possesses the required skills. And of course, this is, again, the Agile team. You just have to make sure that they have those skills as well. And this is how it really maps. The very same is true for phases and milestones. What we see here is on the solution level, an example of some milestones. This is a standard. And if we talk about safety milestones, we want to add them. So now we have a technical safety concept, we have a safety plan, solution verification, solution validation, safety case updated and released. So these are some typical milestones we would use. So we have to start thinking about what kind of design do we want to have. Do we want to have those milestones explicit, so there are additional milestones, or do we just want to enhance the existing milestones? So for example, here we have the solution demo, and the solution demo milestone on the left side of the picture, we could enhance a little bit so that it reflects the solution validation as well, that it includes that as well. So there are all design decisions which a process engineer, after training from PEDCO, can do in applied SAFE and model it properly.
Thank you. This is great dialogue and learning about traceability, how you trace from regulations into the processes, and then an example from a safety perspective, deep diving it even further. I really appreciate this. As we close out this compliance series, any last further comments that you have for the audience?
Yeah, we have, this is a proven pattern that we have seen that worked. We have used that in automotive, in aerospace. There are case studies around which you can download. There are even record-breaking time in implementations, which we have seen in aerospace, 4 months from 0 to full audit. This is all possible, something that works. And after training for process engineers, this is all possible in your company as well. Get in contact with us at Sheila@pedco.eu or Peter@pedco.eu, and we are happy to talk with you.
Thanks, Peter. It was fun talking today.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.